Hey, this is Rachel Pontillo from createyourskincare.com and holisticallyhope.com, and today I've got a special treat for you. I am joined by the gorgeous Jennifer Devlin-Waller from Celtic Complexion, which is a beautiful artisan skincare line that Jennifer has created and formulated. She's going to be talking with us today about her process and the story behind Celtic Complexion, as well as her experience when she took my course, Create Your Skincare. So come on over and join the conversation. Well, hi, Jennifer. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited to have the opportunity to interview you for the Holistically Hope and Create Your Skincare audience because we go way back.
I know, we have a lot of history.
We do, and it's funny because I remember when I first learned about your product line. I think it was through one of the trade aesthetics forums among estheticians, and I was a brand new esthetician, and I knew back then that I was interested in a more natural and organic approach, but I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was looking for, so I was kind of at the stage where I was just absorbing, and your line came up, and then I clicked on your website, and then I think I just ordered a couple of products to just see what they were like. And I realized when I got them how different they were from anything else I'd ever tried, because they were the oils and so concentrated. And I was just used to water-based lotions and everything. So I have to say, my experience with your product line, and then when you and I kind of continued just back and forth over email, and then we did a couple of blog collaborations. I know your approach really inspired a lot of what I do. So I wanted to thank you for that.
Thank you. I think we jointly inspired each other, because when you wrote your book, I was so blown away, and I thought, well, I don't have to write a book now because she wrote everything that I would have written. So
thank you.
Mutual respect.
Thank you very much. But I still encourage you to write that book, because I know you have a story to tell, and everybody deserves to have their story heard or read. So I look forward to reading that when you do put it out.
Absolutely.
But when you first approached me about being interested in taking Create Your Skincare, I have to admit, I was just totally taken aback, because I'm like, oh my God, why does she need my course? She already makes such amazing stuff. And I know that people come to Create Your Skincare from varying levels of experience. I have absolute beginners who have never even mixed anything other than maybe food in their kitchens before. And I have people who are estheticians, who are already beginning formulators. But you were one of my students who actually had a really well-established line already with a really specific brand philosophy and ingredient philosophy. So I really would love to know what you were looking for and what areas you felt Create Your Skincare would enhance in your brand, in your business, when you signed up.
Absolutely. Well, as an artisan skincare maker, you're always trying to learn new things, new techniques, because there's not one end-all be-all way of doing something. And in my opinion, the minute you think you know it all is the minute you start to lose your edge, basically. I never stopped reading. I never stopped learning. And the reason I connected with you is because I read your book. It immediately resonated. Every single chapter, I found myself saying, yes, 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 finally. So I knew that you were a good person to teach, just because of your what I read about in your book. So for me, it was a no-brainer. You had a lot of established integrity already. And a lot of times when you take a course, for me anyway, or when I buy a course or I take a course, it's about, I might not learn something 100% through the course. Like I might watch a module and say, oh, I already knew that kind of, or I had an idea. But if I just get 2 or 3 nuggets out of it that helps me, it's well worth the course. It's well worth the price of the course. And it was.
Great. What was your favorite part of the course?
Well, believe it or not, one of my favorite part of the courses was that I could go at my own pace. That's really important when you have your own business, because a lot of times I was watching the modules late at night. I like that it had a video component to it, so I could rewind it, go back and listen to it, because I like to learn by watching and also learn by reading. So that was very, very important to me. And I felt like the basis that you covered were were adequate. They were just what I needed. They weren't too overwhelming because some of the courses that I've taken were just completely over my head and I lost interest and you kept it fun. I
Oh,
like that.
good. Yeah, fun is definitely something that I always wanted to keep in this because, yes, a lot of us get into making skincare products out of necessity. I know that was certainly why I did, but I really want to focus on this as a part of self-care and something that gives us pleasure rather than another chore that we have to do. And whether you're
Absolutely.
making products for yourself or making products for someone else, I always want that joy and that love to be infused into the products.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Your state of mind when you're making products is so important. You know, that how you're vibrating is important. All that love gets put into a bottle. That's why a lot of times people say, "What's the difference between your products and 10 other green beauty products?" And I personally believe that it's a state of mind you go in when you start mixing. And you talked about that in your course too, which is very important. You can't
Awesome.
make products when you're angry.
Definitely not, because I mean, think about it. You're intending a product to be healing or
Exactly.
soothing to someone or to make them feel better. And if you're in a bad mood or you're stressed out or you're just feeling funky and you're putting all that in there, it it's totally counterproductive to what you're trying to
Exactly.
do. And especially if you're giving a product to someone that you love as a
Mhm.
gift, or you're giving it selling it to a client that you want it to help them, you've made this for them. So there's just no room for those types of negative emotions. You just
Absolutely.
I always encourage people to just clear their minds. If you have it on your schedule that you have to formulate for someone but you're having a bad day,
Mhm.
reschedule.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's the biggest difference, in my opinion, also of mass marketed products versus artisan products. Um, Mass marketed is made very quickly with a machine, with an hourly worker who doesn't really, they're there to pick up a paycheck. And when artisans work on their product, it's about the love in the hands, it's about the intention. It's a whole different, it's a whole separate ball of wax.
Just the care of the ingredient selection that you
Mhm.
put into your products, that was something that really drew me to you as a business person, as a brand, as somebody that I followed on social media, and I read all your newsletters. I mean, just learning about how delicate the process was for the oils you chose and how lengthy the process is to make one of your creams, where someone else could make a similar type of product and just whip it up and stick it in a bottle and be like, here you go, after it sets over a couple hours. But your process, you just have such care that you handle every step of your process with. And that is something that really resonated with me. And I wanted to teach the importance of the care of each step. So
Absolutely.
that is something that I definitely was inspired by from you.
Well, thank you. I started off making products for myself. I had no intention of going into business. So I think honestly, if I had planned to go into business, I wouldn't have. In hindsight, it was a good thing. But when you go into business, you're looking at how can we make a profit? How can we cut time? And it all has to do with money, basically, when you're going to it from a business standpoint. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I started off when I kind of had the epiphany aha moment from an esthetician I met, many, many years ago when I was a beauty director for Nordstrom. You know the story. I had rosacea very bad, and she said, "Listen, it's all of the chemical laden products that you're using, and you could have." I was very protective over the lines that I worked with because I believed every single line of, you know,
Oh, I
stuff
know.
she told me.
The
And
brand washing.
exactly, exactly. So I didn't want to believe her, but I couldn't deny it. When once she told me to get off of that and go on a chemical-free diet, which I did almost just to prove her wrong. But then after a couple of weeks, a couple of months, my skin never looked better, and then I just left it and I never looked back. So then I started to become self-taught. She did tell me that even when you go through aesthetic school, you're going to be taught by vendors, just like it is in the retail world. There's one way of teaching. She said, get out, get your license, and then become self-teach yourself. So that's when my real education started. So every time I'd read about an ingredient, or not a product, but mostly ingredients, I'd say, I want that in my skincare. I want that in my skincare. So to me the process was so much fun. It was the journey of getting to the product, to the end. So every step along the way was joyous to me. And then when I started doing a hobby, it was still very, very, lovingly joyous. When I switched to becoming a business, it was like, wait a second, it's taking a very long time to make this, but customers feel a difference, and I'm not going to change the process, ever. That's what makes it different.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. And that's what I love the most about your brand. And that's just the approach that you take to everything that you put out.
Mhm.
And I know, some of your newer products, I've been seeing the pictures on Facebook. I'm like, ooh, that is so gorgeous. And your customers are in for so many treats. And I just think that what you're doing is amazing. And what I also love how I especially love how specific you are, how well you know your clients, and
Mhm.
how the whole Celtic thing, that's something that I love just from a
Mhm.
spiritual and historic perspective. It's something that I study a lot about. Um, so when you put like the names of the different goddesses on the products, on the makeup, I was just like, oh, I know about that. And I mean, you know your customer, and your
Mhm.
customers will find you because you know them so well, and you make it just so easy for them to resonate with different all the different ways you communicate your brand.
Absolutely. Everything has to be on brand. But I'll tell you, if you're doing this for a business and you're trying to compete with the origins of the world, and
Hmm.
I'm saying that kind of tongue in cheek because, artisans typically don't have the marketing budgets that big corporations do. They just don't have it. So you have to be very, very niche specific of who you're dealing with. And it wasn't until I started doing research after I'd met that holistic esthetician that I found that my cultural background, which I never, we've been in the States for a very, very long time. It's not like I'm a second generation American. We've been here for a long time, but the genes don't lie.
Right.
So she was the one that pointed out, she said, well, your rosacea is very common of Celtic heritage people, and it's very common in people that are Irish, Scottish, English, everything in the UK. And then when I first visited Ireland and I got off the plane and literally looked around and said, "Oh my gosh, everyone's ruddy like me," it just kind of confirmed it. So that's how it kind of got into the niche. Certainly, people ask me all the time, "Do I have to have a Celtic heritage to use the products?" Of course, you don't. But when you do have a Celtic heritage, you're more than likely going to be very sensitive, very red, and these products work really well to neutralize that.
Absolutely. So back to create your skincare, I want to know, just based on the knowledge you had coming into the course and how you chose to experience the course, what was your biggest takeaway from the course, and how are you using what you learned in your business now?
I think the way that you did the steps, it's kind of like when you have different chefs that all make the same omelet, say, but they all get there a different way. For me, it was doing it's some of the steps that you did I wasn't doing. I started incorporating those, and again, it's the rituals. Some of the rituals that you did really made a difference, and it's just a matter of when you're used to doing something one way, especially like you said, I came into this already doing my own process. Trying to learn maybe a little bit different process was like, do I want to do that or whatnot? But you made it easy. You made it very easy to say, oh, I'm gonna try that. A lot of the things you were teaching about emulsions and which I wasn't doing because I don't do emulsions. I did a lot of those products for my personal my personal stash, and I just found everything very easy to do.
That's great. I love to hear that. So you did come into this with experience already making products. Do you feel that this is something that people from different levels could benefit from?
Absolutely, absolutely, they can from the very beginner because of your you have a very approachable style. That's what I love about you. You're very down to earth, and you don't talk above people. I've taken some courses and read some books where I felt like I'd have a PhD in
Hmm.
cosmetic um, chemistry to learn from them. You just make it very approachable, and it's just like if it doesn't work, try it again. Kind of alternate it. So I didn't ever feel like I was failing at something. Absolutely. I think if I was just starting off, it would have been 10 times easier to take your course first. I learned all through books in the beginning, so it wasn't as easy. I couldn't ask questions. I didn't have a Facebook forum to get some clarification, which is also very helpful too, because you're working with other students that might have the same issues that you're having, or same questions basically.
Well, I'm really glad that you took the course. Like I said, I was completely honored and tickled that you wanted to
Oh,
be a part of it and that you remain part of the Create Your Skincare community in the group, and that you contributed to our Words of Wisdom for the Pros
mhm.
bonus. So thank you so much. I know that our future students will all be able to benefit from your experience and from being connected with you. I just look forward to a continued friendship with you, and thank you so much for taking the time to share your experience of Create Your Skincare with us. I look
Absolutely.
forward to seeing what you come out with next.
Definitely. Definitely. Thank you so much, Rachel. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for watching, and thanks again to Jennifer Devlin-Waller for joining us and sharing her Create Your Skincare story. Make sure you check her out at CelticComplexion.com. And if you are just getting started making skincare products, or if you're someone who already has been making skincare products for a long time, but you want maybe a little bit of a different perspective to add to your process, come on over and check out Create Your Skincare at createyourskincare.com. Our next semester starts soon, and I look forward to seeing you in class.